poisoning is a serious threat to our health. It can damage the nervous system, kidneys, production of blood cells, and our bones. It can cause anemia, miscarriage, and can harm the fetal nervous system. Lead poisoning is far more harmful to our children, though.
Actually, all children are at risk for lead poisoning because all children are developing their nervous system, either in utero as they develop in their mother, really through adolescence. And they're very vulnerable to this very powerful toxin.
Most children show no physical signs of lead poisoning.
The estimates are approximately 300,000 American children have blood levels of lead high enough to actually cause irreversible brain damage. Children are more susceptible to lead poisoning than adults because children have developing nervous systems, and that's the system that is most at risk. And as these children are trying to develop a nervous system and intelligence that will serve them for their lifetime, this is when they are most vulnerable, as opposed to adults who have very different reaction to lead. The primary danger of lead to young children is brain damage. This can result in lower IQs, hyperactivity, developmental delay, and even aggression.
How exactly do our children come in contact with lead? The answer may surprise you. Lead can be found in many places in your home, in the food you eat, in the jewelry you wear, in your neighborhood, and yes, even in your children's toys.
Children put their hands on everything, so there's a myth that children typically eat the paint because it tastes sweet. Lead paint doesn't taste very good. The main way children have strong hand-to-mouth behavior, so they pick things up. The lead gets into dust in the house, so anything children do, they rub their hands on the wall and chips of paint come off and they put them into their mouth. And then it falls on the floor and they're walking or crawling around the floor, sitting on the floor. They get it all over them. So it's pretty easy for children to be ingesting, to eat lead and paint.
Lead can be found in paint, water, soil, ceramics, toys, jewelry, and products from other countries. It is all around us. The lead in these products often ends up in dust. This dust is easily spread around the house, which makes it easy for children and adults to breathe in. This dust can be formed by chipped paint. Lead-based paint is a major source of lead poisoning. Since most children show no signs or symptoms of having lead poisoning, the only way to tell if a child has lead poisoning is through a blood test. It is a Massachusetts law that children must have a blood test done for lead poisoning. This should happen once every year until the age of 4, as well as before entering kindergarten or daycare. Meanwhile, there are some things you could do to reduce your child's risk of exposure to lead.
The best way is to encapsulate that lead. If you actually have a lead inspector come to your house, then you will be obligated to do a cleanup, which can cost quite a lot of money. It might cost $25,000 to $50,000. What you can do is to encapsulate that lead to paint over it to make sure that that lead paint isn't available to the child. That's a temporary solution. It won't solve it, but at least it'll be a short-term fix. If you know there's a particular room in your house where lead is peeling off the walls, you can keep the child out of that room. So, and also clean your house regularly to vacuum up any lead that might be falling in the dust on the floor.
They may show symptoms like vomiting, abdominal pain, constipation, loss of appetite, restlessness, irritability, etc. But these symptoms are caused by other conditions as well. So it is hard for parents to know that their children have been exposed to lead.
Know what they're buying. And this is very challenging because things aren't necessarily labeled, but there are ways that parents can protect children. For example, avoid purchasing toys from vending machines. In 2004, there were 150 million pieces of jewelry that were sold that were contaminated with lead in vending machines in the United States. To say nothing of the fact that these toys are usually small and present a choke hazard as well. You can test suspected jewelry, for example, that you can purchase lead test swabs at hardware stores. You can get your child tested, but the best thing is to be proactive. And there are actually websites that you can go to and keep apprised of products that have been recalled. Unfortunately, the state of commerce in the United States is not such that all things are routinely tested. So things are recalled as we find out about them, but it's not a perfect system in any way. But the Consumer Product Safety Council actually has a website you can go to, and you can even sign up for email alerts. The best cure is prevention.